AI's on the move again. Let's get you up to speed with what matters for work. In this AI update, we'll cover Gemini 3.1, the expansion of the token window for ChatGPT thinking models, and more. All right, in the Gemini and Google world, here's two updates that I think are important for us right now. The first is there's been an enhancement and an expansion of the sharing capabilities for Google-made agents, custom agents, things like that. So as you're building automations and agents and experiences with Gemini, this now is easier to share those with your coworkers and peers. This is something we saw out of the Copilot space recently, some enhancement there. So Gemini is kind of catching up in some ways, but it's important if you build something for work, it's likely that your peers would benefit. So easier sharing is always a good benefit. If you're in the Gemini space, check this out, explore these capabilities and functionalities, and maybe talk to your admin too if you need to. All right, second from the Gemini space is the big one. Gemini 3.1 has launched, 3.1 Pro. Now this is an enhancement, but not all that surprising given that just recently Claude Sonnet 4.6 dropped. And we know these AI labs are competing aggressively for attention. And so we knew that something like this was coming. With any model that drops, you as a knowledge worker should be spending a little bit of time understanding, should I be embracing this model? What's important is that in any one of these articles, they always tend to give a chart like this. Again, my best tip for you is to pay attention to the GDPVal test. You'll see it's right down here, about 3/4 of the way down this image. This test is where they put the model through a series of knowledge worker common tasks. The output is then sent to human expert evaluators and then graded. You'll notice that 3.1 Pro still does not score as highly as the Claude and GPT counterparts. And so there's some really cool enhancements to Gemini, might be really good for your use case. I see that it's getting better at image generation and coding and things like that. But in terms of knowledge worker tasks, I'm not yet sure if this is exactly what we're hoping for. Maybe more coming, right? So keep an eye out on that, test it, try it, experiment. All right, in the ChatGPT space, they've extended the context window for thinking models, okay? What is the context window? What's that all about? Maybe you've heard of it or not. So they've really expanded by 60,000 tokens the window that you can interact with ChatGPT on when you're using thinking models. What that means is tokens are basically 3/4 of a word, okay? And tokens are the currency in the AI age. How many tokens can you send to AI? How many tokens can it then output back to you? So bigger is generally better, meaning it's more flexible, but we're talking about hundreds of thousands of tokens. And so most of us are never going to hit this window. So it's just important to keep an eye out on tokens and understand the context there. But for most of us, this is an embarrassment of riches here. To put that in context, so to make this helpful for today, for all of us, I made this little image to help explain what these tokens kind of look like. So if I have 128,000 input tokens, which is what that new ChatGPT update gives me, I can literally give it a full-size strategy document, 6 to 10 research papers, a 3-hour meeting transcript, a whole year's product roadmap. All of that fits within that 128,000 window. For context, the average business book is probably around something like 90 to 100,000 tokens in size. So that's not a little bit of information. It's a lot. Probably more than you're putting into one prompt. The output is likewise. Like you could get a full book draft back from ChatGPT in one of its thinking models. No sweat under this 128,000 output token limit. So just some comparisons down here. I use this box in purple. I use this personally to kind of keep context for what this token size looks like. 8,000 is the average token amount for a conversation that I might have back and forth with AI. 256,000 tokens is basically like, here's like my company wiki, my strategy documents, all of our customer interviews, just so much information that then AI can analyze and work with. That's what that window kind of looks like. So this update to ChatGPT might not change your world just yet, but understanding tokens should. And you should have an appreciation for tokens because that's something that's going to limit or enable you going forward. Hopefully you get a chance to experiment and explore with these new enhancements and capabilities, and let's make AI work at work.